We have live team coverage across Alamance County as we track the flood and tornado damage.
We're also looking into water problems and power outages caused by the storm. Good evening, I'm Chad Silber.
And I'm Julie Luck. Right now, Alamance County is under a state of emergency where nearly 4,000 homes and businesses have no power.
Let's start with WFMY News 2's Ben Briscoe, who's surveying the damage in Haw River.
Guys, the water out here is going down fast. About 30 minutes ago, that gazebo over there was totally covered. Now you can see that water's completely gone. But if you go up from there, you can follow the mud here to see how far the water went last night. It came up from the banks of the river, across the street, above those mailboxes over there. And the guy who lives in this house told me he almost slept through it all and almost got trapped in his house. But two good friends came to the rescue by making a lot of noise.
I was laying on the couch and my dogs started barking like they are now. And I looked out the window, it was a tow truck backing back up the road, the lights flashing. And I figured something was going on at that moment.
The dogs barking quickly drowned out by the sound of rushing water as Lang Street turned into Lang Lake.
5 minutes later, the water had already started coming up into my driveway right there.
That family able to get out safely, but some neighbors had their cars submerged as the rain roared down for hours.
Sorry for the noise. The tenant has a generator going.
Kevin Coggins owns 2 rental homes on the street and came to check for damage.
It never really gets across the road. I've owned that house since 1990, and the last time I saw it like this was in Fran, 1996.
This giant tree snapped over into the garage.
Crazy. I'm surprised.
In other parts of town, the water was so strong, it peeled the pavement off the street. We're talking a good 2 inches of asphalt here, moved like it was nothing on the bridge over Jimmy Kerr Road.
There wasn't a lot of sleep happening here in Haw River last night. We were all concerned about the river and the flooding, and obviously that everybody was okay.
Alarms started ringing for Jenny, Pat, and Coble when floodwaters surged into our apartment building.
Glad that we're here today. The sun's out, and people seem to be doing okay, and the community will work together to make it good.
A message echoed by others in this tight-knit town.
As long as everybody's safe and there's no loss of life, then this is just material things. All this can be replaced.
All is not quiet on this street just yet. There's lots of people just like this driving up and down trying to look at the damage. And I've seen at least 20 utility trucks come up and down trying to fix the power in the area. But with the water rising this high, it's going to take a while. Duke Energy says it could be midnight before everyone in the area has the lights back on.
Ben, thank you. Let's go to Hannah Hill now, who is in Saxapahaw, where the Haw River has left quite the mark.
That's right, guys, but I'm coming to you here at 6 o'clock with some rather good news. The buckets are up and Duke Energy crews have made their way on the scene, and they are working to make repairs to the Buddy Collins Memorial Bridges. Now, this situation, though, it's a little tricky because the power poles are snapped in between the 2 bridges and the lines are in the water. So they're trying to see if they can make a temporary fix to restore power before the final fix is done. The Haw River, it overflowed earlier this morning, cutting off a route in and out of Saxapahaw. Hours later, the bridge is still closed and locals are beginning to worry for the future.
Both use this bridge daily to go to work. He works in Mebane, I work in Hillsboro. We have to find different ways to get there, and then this morning the interstate was shut down, so we couldn't really go that way either. So it's kind of, can't really go nowhere right now.
And Duke Energy tells me there is still no timeline for when these repairs could be made. They're still trying to assess the problem altogether. Those floodwaters also hit Saxapahaw United Methodist Church, which isn't just a place for Sunday worship. It's also where dozens of kids go to preschool, and now those classrooms are covered in both mud and debris.
We're trying to figure out where the preschool can meet. And so we are talking to several different places and trying to figure out if there might be a space that we could use, probably for 6 months. The guys who did the float through this morning figure it might take about 6 months to get things back up and running.
Saxapahaw community members just had a meeting a few hours ago, and during that meeting they discussed the problems they're seeing at home and in the community, and they're all trying to come up with the most efficient way to rebuild. For now, live in Saxapahaw, I am Hannah Hill, WFMY News 2.
Hannah, thank you. You can see very active scene out there, very delicate work they have to do, but we certainly thank all the first responders as well as the crews for doing all that hard work. Moving over now to Mebane, where people are asked to cut down on using water for things like meals, laundry, or taking long showers.
WFMY News 2's Amber Lake is live in Mebane, where she has met plenty of people cleaning up today.
Guys, situations like this happened all over the county last night. You can see waters rushed in and took everything in its path, even knocking over these 2 trailers and cars here at this salvage yard. One man in Mebane showed me his basement earlier today that saw nearly 5 feet of water. What's even crazier, his neighbor's shed ended up in his backyard, and his basketball goal ended up across the street.
It's just a tremendous amount of water.
Dave Riley and his family just came back to Mebane from a beach trip. It was on the coast that they thought that they'd experienced tropical storm-related weather, not in their own backyard.
Nothing like this. This is really out of character. Like I said, I came back from the beach, and we thought it was going to storm there. We get here, and it's 10 times worse. We just weren't expecting that at all.
Nearly 5 feet of water and $20,000 worth of damage.
We came down and started trying to put some sandbags up to block things. Over the next 15 minutes, it came in pretty hard.
Many people in Mebane are just like Riley, still in shock over all the water.
Yeah, I think this really outdoes even Fran.
Same thing happened here at Crutchfield Auto Parts. I mean, look at all these cars, right? They were all standing up straight before this storm came in. Now we have all these cars laying on top of one another. We have debris scattered all across this yard. We even have cars in the creek on the other side of this yard. It's going to take a very, very long time to really bounce back from this, guys.
Amber, thank you. Let's move west to Graham now, where flooding caused immense damage at a mobile home park.
WFMY News 2's Kevin Kennedy shows us how people there are trying to recover.
Good afternoon from Alamance County. It is the day to assess the damage and start the cleanup process here as Little Alamance Creek jumped its banks last night around 7, maybe 8 o'clock. A lot of the neighbors here, they were evacuated around 9. Good thing. At that point, the creek rose in some situations, moving more than 100 feet surrounding these trailers, water up to their waist.
Take a look at this video from last night, a section of this mobile home park underwater. Little Alamance Creek jumping its banks, water waist high in several spots.
I was scared, shocked, because I ain't never seen nothing like this before, not a flood at least like this big.
At least a dozen trailers damaged by floodwaters. Neighbors told to leave around 9 last night.
I don't have no time because I saw the police, so they told me, get out, because it's a dangerous situation right now.
At Sylvia Newman's home, part of the foundation is knocked over, the AC unit on its side. At this home, the sewage and water pipes now on the ground. The skirting at several homes mangled and bent. This flood came on fast.
That instance told me just get up and look at the front door. When I looked at the front door, it was coming.
Less than 12 hours later, the water has subsided, the creek back in its banks, but there is a lot of damage left to repair.
I spoke with a number of folks out here. Some of them have insurance. Unfortunately, some of them don't. It'll take a while before this little community kind of gathers itself and gets back on its feet. Kevin Kennedy, WFMY News 2.
Kevin, thank you. The National Weather Service confirmed 4 tornadoes yesterday from the storm. One of them touched down in the snow camp area.
WFMY News 2's Taylor Lever joins us live where that twister did touch down.
Well, we are here just off Mount Vernon Rock Creek Road, and I want to just walk you closer to this damage here. So if you can see, all of this is actually a part of a roof that was on top of this building at one point. And as you can see, it's just crumbled into pieces. Now, DOT crews were here earlier on the scene. They were actually moving it out of the road and kind of moving it back toward in front of the business. And again, like you said, guys, this was a tornado. This was the damage from that tornado, and it's just crumbled up into pieces. places. Now, we talked to a few residents here, a mom and son, who talked about how the winds were so strong just hearing it from their home. They said they couldn't even believe, now that we know that a confirmed tornado hit this area. The son actually told us he's only seen tornadoes in movies, so having it hit right in his backyard is just devastating.
Fortunately, most of our neighborhood is in really good shape. We were shocked to see this condition just outside the neighborhood. We didn't hear the sounds, which what you would think would make quite a bit of noise, and maybe people closer to it did hear it, but we were completely shocked and just, really grateful that it didn't hit us.
Now, we also talked to the fire chief, Jerry Boone, and he said how, this was the only structure in town that was damaged or hit from that tornado. And it's kind of the pathway here of this tornado was it touched down, it hit this building that's behind me, and it kind of spiraled and it kept going on further on down Mount Vernon, Rock Creek Road. And going down there, we saw lots of snap trees, lots of down power lines. There are actually still some down right here up in front of my eyes here. And again, crews will be on the scenes kind of surveying any of the damage. And again, we're supposed to get a report from the National Weather Service as to far what the category of that tornado was that hit and how strong those wind gusts were. But again, we're going to keep following this. For now, I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Taylor, thank you. The Raleigh area also got significant flooding from Chantal. An 83-year-old woman was swept away by floodwaters in Chatham County late last night. Dozens of people were rescued in the Triangle area. Flooding ravaged many homes, and thousands still do not have power.